one of the most complicated and convoluted emotions in everything from its sensations to consequences and triggers and tone. Nostalgia is definitely one that everyone knows, but nobody really understands. Like, we know that it's sort of that sense of the past intruding on the present, but not having full grounds in the future. Like, we feel that we've lost something and we're reminiscing on it, or we are filling in memories we'll never have again. It's like looking back because we know looking forward will feel worse. We opt to nostalgia when we want to feel good, but it's not good. It's a melancholic hollowness disguised as good. You know, it can switch up on you so fast into a upsetting emotion. It is the most complex emotion we have in human arsenal, basically. And being that, it would be evident to want to understand it. Unlike every other emotion, nostalgia is one that we just can't dedicate ourselves to understanding. We can't put in, the research and effort as much as we do to, the causes of happiness, sadness, ecstasy, depression. We leave this one slated. We don't try to research this one. It's not one that receives, clinical intent searches. It's not one that is studied or anything. Well, it is studied, but less as an emotion and more as a thing of cultural importance, basically, because nostalgia is hugely important in cultural content, basically. Think of lots of your favourite music and favourite shows, and how a lot of modernistic mainstream media actually finds its core from being reminiscent on the childhood. Like, when you get artists who are 20 to 27 appealing to 13, 14, 15 upwards, you see them trying to emulate styles that they really enjoyed when they were younger. At the same time, their audience would have been enjoying the same content, but on a lower level, basically. But yes, so why don't we try to understand this emotion when we try to understand every emotion, and this being the most complex, it would make sense to be the one we want to understand? Well, in my opinion, the reason we don't do that is because understanding nostalgia would completely diminish it. If we knew why and how and what exactly it was and did, we wouldn't enjoy the sensations. We wouldn't, have that same fearful excitement. We wouldn't know that this is nostalgia. We would just recognize it as another outburst of hormones. We wouldn't know it as something more, something significant, which it really is. Think of your moments of most intense nostalgia that you've experienced when exposed to something, or out of complete nothing, where you've just been hit by that wave. Think of how just impactful that is to your being, how it moves you so much when it shouldn't. You feel dumb for getting so overwhelmed by something so simple, but really it is that tapping into something real deep, into something real significant, and understanding that would diminish it. It would stop us from fully enjoying it. Yes, of course we want to be scientists in life, but putting science to some things that shouldn't have science stops them from being fun. If we understand why certain optical illusions do that, they lose their novelty, they're not as fun. If we know how lava lamps work, they're not fucking awesome, and everyone thinks lava lamps are awesome, except the people who know how lava lamps work. But yeah, we just don't want to understand it. We shouldn't understand it because that'll break it. And I put nostalgia in the category of one of the very few sensations and emotions that is actually one that, when you experience it, is more in touch with something more than the brain. It is more than your body and your mind. It's pushing on that spiritual, soulful boundary. You're tapping on that energy that has been present to you since the beginning and will always be present. And it's not just been within you, it's been within every, object of importance since the beginning of time, basically. Our soul is what mainstream let's call it, but I'm not so fond of that. I think maybe there's a different term for it. But that is what it is tapping into, and that's why it draws out this intensity, because it is the most intense form of energy and because it's been present in us the whole time, it recognises other forms of intense energy that have inflicted intense energy on our intense energy, making us react. I always say maybe feeling mind blown is when your brain's knowledge taps into your soul's knowledge, like you're breaking that boundary. It's one of the borderline spiritual emotions. It's a transcendent emotion, but instead of transcending death, it's transcending bodily boundaries, basically. So that's why we shouldn't understand nostalgia as much as we understand, say, excitement or grief, because we want to feel the full spectrum of it. We want to recognise, because it comes so infrequently, but it comes so certainly to every human, that we need to fulfill it and we need to experience the best of it, because we love it. Humans love to feel it, even when it gets us into the downest state, because of how final it makes things feel. We love it. It is blissful, but it is just soul destroying, but we love it.